Welcome to Conversations. I'm Muqtadar Khan, your host, and today I'm going to talk to you about how Donald Trump has overestimated American power and has underestimated the capacity of Iran to resist Israel and America combined. As you all aware, Donald Trump has made all kinds of claims about the goals of his campaign, started with demanding complete and unconditional surrender from Iran, demanding that he be given the power to decide who will rule Iran after Ayatollah Khamenei was killed. And then he also talked about how he wants complete dismantling of Iran's nuclear capabilities, which he himself had obliterated about 8 months ago. But apparently, when Donald Trump says, I have obliterated something, it doesn't mean anything. He wants also the destruction of Iranian nuclear capabilities, etc., etc. So we have heard this litany where he talks about tactical goals and he talks about overall strategy, and that keeps changing from day to day. At times, he says that he is not really interested in regime change. And then, when asked if he is interested in sending this clown Pahlavi from America to go become the next king of Iran, he responds by saying that he does not really want that. He wants somebody from within the regime, within Iran, to take. So he keeps changing. So the latest news from Donald Trump is that he has realized that Iran's threat in response to American and Israeli attack is not just about attacking Israel with rockets and missiles and attacking American bases where Americans are. Iran is doing all of that, but Iran had also promised and threatened to target the oil infrastructure of the Gulf and also closing the Hormuz, the Strait of Hormuz. In doing so, what Iran has done has created a global economic crisis, creating pressure on many countries economically, who then are putting pressure on Washington to end this war. Not only that, the rising prices of oil is the price of oil has now gone above $97. It's hovering around $100. It was $65 before the war started. And so many countries who do not have deep pockets and do not have deep reserves of oil are facing a major challenge. Places like Pakistan, they have shut down schools and universities, and government employees are working from home because they are trying to preserve and save on gas. In India, the crisis of the gas cylinder has become so acute, the government has invoked emergency powers. So there is a lot of pressure on the global economies, from Japan, China, to most of the global south, even Europe and the US itself, where the price of gas has gone up. So Donald Trump has realized that his inability to essentially provide safe passage to oil ships, ships carrying energy from the Gulf countries through the Strait of Hormuz to the rest of the world, has been one major tactical failure of this war. And as a result of that, with each passing day, Donald Trump is realizing that he is not able to win this war quickly. Not only that, it is not looking as if he is as dominant a power, even in combination with Israel. These are two countries who are hugely more powerful than Iran. America's GDP is 100 times Iran's GDP, and Israel is double in its GDP than Iran. And these countries have been developing endlessly in the last 30-40 years, whereas Iran has been constrained by sanctions against it, and isolationism, its inability to export or import freely, etc. So Iran's growth and development has been severely constrained by sanctions imposed by the US and the Western countries. In spite of that, the fight that Iran is giving is beginning to surprise and amaze Donald Trump. And the pressure he must be feeling at home, because the public opinion in America is not with this war. Most Americans think this war is for Israel and nothing to do with America. This is not an America first. It's only some politicians in America like Lindsey Graham and to some extent Ted Cruz and others who literally live off AIPAC and pro-Israeli billionaires' money, and those are the only people who are advocating for this war. But most Americans are not really interested in this. I wrote an article, if you remember, in the news journal, making the case that the biggest crisis in America is affordability, and without America's capacity to deal with the affordability crisis. In fact, this war is going to exacerbate the affordability crisis in America. So this is not a war that Americans want to fight. This is a war that Donald Trump is fighting on behalf of Israel. It's nothing to do with America. So now he's in trouble. He finds that he's unable to do that. In the Middle Eastern countries are also in big trouble. These countries have been two-faced, publicly saying that they do not want a war against Iran, and then privately telling the Americans that we want a war. So when the Washington Post leaked the story that Saudi Arabia's defense minister and then subsequently MBS were calling Donald Trump every day, along with Netanyahu, and asking Trump to attack Iran, that was the time for MBS to go out straight to the media and say, no, I did not say that at all. And Washington Post is lying about it. Rather than that, they gave this complicated diplomatic speech. And every day, MBS could have been saying this, that no, we did not want this war. This war, America is fighting only for Israel, or for whatever reasons Donald Trump has. They could be saying this. I have not seen any statement from the United Arab Emirates saying they didn't want this war. Say it loud and clear, again and again and again, but they're not. So even they are paying this whole price. In fact, they are realizing that the whole idea of having American bases was so that they would be protected. In fact, the logic has been flipped. The reason why they are being attacked is because they have American bases. So having American bases in the Gulf countries, rather than protecting them, has made them targets of Iran. That tells you to what extent they underestimated Iran and overestimated the United States. When Israel attacked Qatar, the American base in Qatar did nothing. Their advanced warning systems were not alerted. If they were alerted that Israel was attacking, they did not protect Qatar. They did not block Israeli attack. They did not hit the Israeli jets which bombed and were going back. They did not retaliate against a force. So what was the use of having? That is when the Qataris should have realized that the American bases in Qatar are absolutely useless. They are there to protect Israel. That's it, because we already know that they're not interested in advancing American interests at all. This is all about Israel and Israel first. They allowed Israel to hit Qatar. That should have been a message enough to the Arab countries. But I think the countries with the lowest IQ are the leaders of the Arab world. They are the stupidest, dumbest leaders I've ever seen in human history, are these monarchs of these Gulf countries. They are helpless with so much wealth, they can't defend themselves. Their whole idea of defending and protecting national security is to go and bend the knee to Donald Trump or bend the knee to Bibi Netanyahu. Oh, please save us. Oh, please save us. MBS can't rely on America, so runs to Pakistan and says, oh, please help us. MBS runs all the way to India and says, please help us. Where are they? They're being attacked. Is Pakistan protecting Saudi Arabia? No. Is India protecting Dubai? No. What happened to the India and Dubai defense agreement? In fact, I think I should take that defense agreement text out, take the photograph of MBZ meeting with Modi, and do a show on that. In fact, I will. What happened to these partnerships, these so-called defense partnerships? These countries are under attack. They are not being protected. Another thing that has happened recently is that Donald Trump has also realized the limits of American power. So I'm going to share a few newspaper reports. So first, let me share his own tweet. This is what he says. Many countries, especially those who are affected by Iran's attempted closure of the Hormuz Strait, will be sending warships in conjunction with the United States of America to keep the strait open and safe. He doesn't remember to say in conjunction with Israel. We have already destroyed 100% of Iran's military capability. See, this is what I don't understand. This is so stupid. Your IQ has to be bloody zero to make a comment like this. If Iran's military capabilities have been destroyed 100%, then a little child should be able to walk across the Strait of Hormuz, because Iran will be able to do zero. But anyway, and it's these right-wing populations who vote for right-wing leaders, they are the dumbest crowd on earth. Modi said something to that effect, that in India, if you have this open shit drains, where the human feces goes through, because they don't have closed drains in India. Many places there are open drains. So apparently he said that he saw a guy take a bowl and put it in the open drain and put a pipe through it, and then he used the gas that is coming from the feces to make tea. And that's how he wants to solve. And this is how these stupid guys say, and the population becomes very popular and votes for these dumb guys. 100% capability. If it is destroyed, then why are we fighting the war? How is Iran able to retaliate against the attacks on Karg and then hit Saudi Arabia's and United Arab Emirates oil refineries in retaliation to America's attack on the island of Karg today? This is absolutely, I find this so, to me, it's quite irritating when he says such stupid things and he gets away with it. It's stunning. We have won the war, very complete. What is very complete? He said that 2 or 3 days ago. Anyway, we have already destroyed Iran's 100% military capabilities, but we still need help. And so he actually called China, France, Japan, South Korea, and the United Kingdom. And notice he didn't call India, by the way, best friend of Modi. And others that are affected by this artificial constraint will send ships to the area so that Hormuz will no longer be a threat by a nation that has been totally decapitated. Look at this. Like, is there any logic to this at all? He says, I want all these countries to send their navies so that a country that is then totally decapitated is not a threat. If it's decapitated, why do you need so many navies? Your navy should be enough. Yes, I understand you have a moron, Pete Hegseth, as the leader of the U.S. Department of War, and so given his IQ is in the negative, he can't come up with good plans, and so you need foreign countries to come and help. But why say these things that they're decapitated? Then why do you need? This is completely idiotic. And Trump doesn't drink, so you can't even say that, oh, he had one extra vodka or one extra this or that. And therefore he was posting such things. But anyway, in the meantime, the United States will be bombing the hell out of the shoreline and continually shooting Iranian boats and ships out of the water. One way or the other, we will soon get the Hormuz Strait open, safe, and free. President Donald J. Trump. Yes, right. If you don't, the 20 to 25% of the global energy goes through Hormuz as it is. If this continues for another month, the oil prices will go above 120, close to 120. And if it lasts for 6 months, the oil prices will become about $150. And let me tell you, we will be in a global recession. So these are the reports. There are a lot of people here who seem to be quite ignorant and don't know that these. So here it is, the Washington Post report. Trump urges world to help open Strait of Hormuz. This came out a few hours ago. By the way, the US embassy in Baghdad was also hit from a country which has no capabilities. And then Trump urges United Kingdom to send ships to Strait of Hormuz after making so much fun of Starmer, the British Prime Minister. He made fun of him, etc. And now he's literally begging these countries for help. He's even called China and has asked them to help, and saying, no, it's in the interest of China because China depends so heavily to go through that. I will answer your question. I can see some people are asking interesting questions after I finish my presentation. So I'm calling this this show that Trump has a tiger by the tail, because what it means is that you grab a tiger by the tail, you can't hold on to it, you can't let it go. For those of you who are of my age and who may have grown up in India reading this author called James Hadley Chase, he had a book whose title was Tiger by the Tail. And so that title stuck in my head. And so sometimes when I find countries who launch projects which then they are unable to overcome, it's like grabbing a tiger by the tail. You make this stupid mistake, and now you can't hold on to the tiger, and then you can't let it go either. So you are like stuck, and that is what has happened to Donald Trump. Uh, there are, I think this war is going to continue, and Donald Trump has actually acknowledged, and this is surprising to me, that Iran threaten. Iran will continue to threaten the Strait of Hormuz, even if its major capabilities, like its missiles, are destroyed, because all it needs is cheap drones, even drones which are in the water. So I don't know how many of you know, but you can go to Amazon and buy little boats which are remote control. Yes, this little boats. I have a car that is this much. Somebody gave me a gift. It's such a big car. It's remote control car, and there's such a big boat somebody gave me, which I actually never use. I still have it. But if you fill that up with C4 and let the boat go, it can go and hit something, and a tanker or something. If there's enough explosives in it, it'll hit. So very basic technology is all Iran requires to be able to block Hormuz. The amount of oil that one tanker carries is apparently up to $300 million. And the insurance is so high. Um, if they actually hit a tanker and the oil leaks out, the environmental disaster in the Gulf, in the Persian Gulf, will be incredible. So one major thing that has happened today is that Donald Trump attacked the island of Karg. Now it's critical because, and Donald Trump, as usual, claims he's destroyed complete military capabilities of Iran on that island, the capacity to defend. Iran doesn't have the capacity to defend itself at all. It never had, really. We saw that in the 12-day war. And prior to that, Iran has some offensive capabilities in terms of missiles and drones, which it is using so smartly. So when he attacked the island of Karg, Donald Trump says they did not hit the oil infrastructure of Iran there. It is apparently very critical for Iran because 100% of Iran's oil that is exported, most of which, 90% of which, 90% of Iranian oil goes through Karg, and most of it to China. So Donald Trump said, look, I'm not attacking this because well, he knows if he attacks that, the price of oil will really, if he destroys the island of Karg, then I think the price of oil will just shoot through the roof. Because right now, the only oil that is coming through Hormuz is Iranian oil going to China. And the Russian ships, which are redirecting themselves. Most of it is actually the Russian ships are coming to India. And Donald Trump, went after India so aggressively to force India to stop buying Russian oil. They put so much pressure on India, call India this and that, and then impose 50% tariffs. Sunny Singh is asking, where is the United Nations? Really, I would like to know where the United Nations were. Ask the Palestinians where the United Nations has been all these years. Anyway, so they begged India, threatened India, and then imposed 25% additional tariffs on India to stop buying Russian oil because they wanted Russia to be unable to fight in Ukraine. And now Donald Trump is begging India to buy Russian oil. And this is because he's unable to deal with what he has done in Iran. He's unable to militarily win this war, which he assumed it would be very easy. Iran will surrender tomorrow, and day after tomorrow, we will install this clown from here in Potomac, in Washington, D.C., the Pahlavi, as king. And he will, as soon as he becomes king of Tehran, he will pledge allegiance to Israel, which he has already done on Fox TV. If you go and listen to some of his videos, he says the first thing he's going to do is improve relations with Israel. And that's it. Israel hegemony will be established in the Middle East. That is the sole purpose of America. America's existence is to protect Israel. There's nothing else. We have no other purpose in life. We don't care about American citizens, their healthcare. We have destroyed American universities because students there are critical of Israel. We will destroy our Ivy Leagues to protect Israel. We will just, only thing that American politicians these days do is in the service of Israel. We have clowns in Senate like Ted Cruz, who says, the only reason I ran for Senate is because I wanted to protect Israel. And then you have Chuck Schumer, the Democrat, the leader of the Democrat, the highest elected office holder of the Democrat. He says that his whole job, at least Ted Cruz sees his job as protecting Israel. Chuck Schumer's brain is very small and his scope is also very small. He thinks his job is just to protect, to ensure that the left in America is pro-Israel. That's all he sees as his job as the #1 Democrat in the US Senate. And so now the US has gone into this mess. The US is spending close to $1 billion a day in this war. And you know what? Just a few months ago, the Republicans said no to extending Obamacare subsidies, which is about $30 billion. For $30 billion, millions of Americans, older people, could have had health care. They were paying about $800 a month. Now they'll have to pay close to $2,800 to $3,000, which will completely drain their retirement money. So there are going to be millions of Americans who are not going to be able to afford healthcare. They're going to go bankrupt because we don't have money. America doesn't have money to help old American poor people. But America has billions of dollars to establish Israeli hegemony in the Middle East, so that then Israel can go and destroy the Masjid al-Aqsa and establish the Temple of Solomon and all this kind of rubbish. If you want to know what the agenda is, I refer you to American ambassador to Israel, who often behaves as if he's the Israeli ambassador to America, Mike Huckabee, the former governor of Arkansas. He thinks that it is a religious duty of Israel to establish. You want to know who the Taliban, the real Taliban in the world are? The global Taliban. It is this right-wing American government under Donald Trump. People like Pete Hegseth and Mike Huckabee, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, they're all pro-Israelis. Some of them are cynical. They're doing this for money. Others are doing this for religious beliefs. Anyway, so that is all I wanted to share today, that Donald Trump seems to have grabbed the tiger by the tail and he can't let it go. I'll be happy to read your comments if they are interesting, and also answer your questions, especially by those who are members of Conversations or those who are sending shall we say, super chats and super thanks my way. So thank you for watching Conversation. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, press the bell icon, and don't forget to share this with your socio-political network. And now let us see what comments are. Nadia Siddiqui, how are you? Thanks for joining. You're the first to come here. Manish Chaudhary, good morning. Manish Chaudhary, it's not, I'm sorry about the early morning. And this is primetime USA, so I started at 10 o'clock. I wanted to do the English show here so that a lot of people here who are outside India are primarily watching this, so it was for them. But I did a whole 2-hour show this morning in Hindi. Mostly people from India and some from Pakistan were watching. I'll come back again tomorrow during the day, which will be prime time India time, around between 9 and 10 India time, for doing Hindi and Urdu. So this is prime time US. बराए मेहरबानी उर्दू में बात की करें. भाई शुक्रिया हम सईद साहब. Come back in a few hours. या आप मेरा पुराना शो देख लें, which I record. I'm doing live streaming nowadays, so I live streamed one just a few hours ago. You can watch that. Well, this is a good question. Saudi Arabia has started a back channel dialogue with Iran. And in fact, one of the attacks on Saudi Arabia, Iran actually denied, saying that we did not make that attack. In fact, the first attack on Iran's biggest refinery, the Iranians said they had not attacked that on Saudi Arabia, and they blamed that on the Israelis. And so MBS has reached out to the Iranians and is having some kind of a dialogue with them. Whereas United Arab Emirates, well, it has this big alliance with Israel and India, and UAE is the champion of Abraham Accords, etc. So the two countries are very different. UAE has tied its future to Israel's future. It's completely slave of Israel. Saudi Arabia has not. It has not recognized Israel. It has not joined the Abrahamic Accords. There are no formal diplomatic relations. So there is a difference between Saudi Arabia. And the Saudis, at least MBS has realized that he can't trust on America anymore. And that's why he went and made a defense pact with Pakistan. So I think Iran is treating Saudi Arabia, but today it did attack both of them. It did attack Saudi Arabia, it did attack United Arab Emirates. And I think if Saudi Arabia starts building something during this war, which will allow it to bypass, there's Yanbu, there is a pipeline that goes all the way there, but that is about just 5 million barrels a day, which is about 20% or 25% of Saudi exports per day. So if it appears that Saudi Arabia is building infrastructure, then I think the Iranians will attack Saudi Arabia more aggressively because they want to have hold on this 25% of the global oil and energy supply, because that is the only strategy they have. They don't have the capacity to hit Israel or the US. I mean, look, there are more days in the war. America has lost only 13 soldiers, some of them through not really in combat. And so Iran is not causing that much damage to the US. I don't think a single bullet has reached America. It's so far away, so safe, nothing. But America is destroying Tehran, is destroying its heritage, its infrastructure, its oil industrial capacity. Iran is going to become like Afghanistan if this war goes on and America keeps bombing it every day for months and months and months. But it is causing a lot of damage in Israel. And apparently, Israel has killed more journalists during the war in Gaza than all the wars combined, World War I, World War II, the Vietnam War combined. So reporting from within Israel is limited. I'm very sympathetic to Israel. So we really don't have a realistic picture of how much damage Iran has done inside Israel. But I can tell you there's zero damage to America from Iran. Well, this is an interesting question. What happens if a scenario? I think I need to do an article on this in the next 3-4 days. I want to see what happens with the Strait of Hormuz for one more week before I start doing some scenario building exercises. And so what happens if Iran, like I have speculated that if Iran's regime becomes very weak, with no capacity to threaten its neighbors, but still powerful enough to suppress its own population and stay in power, then how will the Arab countries respond? Will they say, okay, Iran is not a threat, so screw the Abrahamic Accords and let's not, go and bend our knee in front of Netanyahu and the US? Or will they be so grateful to the US because it has destroyed Iran's offensive capabilities that they will happily become slaves of Israel and will Saudi Arabia then join Abraham Accords? It's difficult to speculate. If they ask me, I will say that if Iran, the only reason why I thought that these countries were aligning with Israel is because of the Iranian threat. So if Iran's threat diminishes, then the Arab countries should have greater strategic autonomy and they should be able to stay away from Israel and be independent. But these monarchies, their first and most dominant interest is regime continuity. So their number one goal is to make sure that they remain in power. And then after that, the second one is their national interest. So we will see. They will do what they think is necessary for them to stay in power. A very complicated question. Worst part of a 2-week war is first 6 years. I don't know, you meant first 6 hours? Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Not Qatar ki gas, gutter ki gas. Yeah, it sort of rhymes with Qatar. In fact, lots of Americans sometimes pronounce Qatar as gutter. So yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Hello, sir. My question is, if US backs off now, what will Iran do? That's a very good question. Because if Iran continues to attack the Gulf countries after the US and Israel stop attacking Iran, then public opinion will become heavily pro Middle Eastern countries. And and the Iranians will be in trouble. See, the Iranians can punish America only by punishing the world, by increasing the cost of the war, by increasing the cost of petrol and gas, by blocking Hormuz. So I think it is also in Iran's interest to some extent that the US continue to attack it, because then their control over the Strait of Hormuz looks as if it's justified. And then they can punish both the US indirectly by increasing the cost. See, if it goes on for a month or two, petrol and gas in the US will go to $4. Uh, I mean, the biggest complaint was that there's inflation in America, and Trump has been combating that perception. This crisis of affordability will go through the roof. You know, Look, I think I, as a professor with a wife who's a librarian, and now with kids on their own, Alhamdulillah, I do well enough to be in the top 30% in America. So I make money enough to be in the top 30, 35% of the American population. But I was telling my wife today that, I only go to work twice a week, and then 4 or 5 days at home. I'm at home doing research work because you all can see my studies in my home. So I thought maybe I should cancel the subscription on self-driving on Tesla, which costs $99 per month. So unless I'm going long distance and I'm going to bigger cities like Washington, D.C. and New York, where I use the self-driving capacity of Tesla. So I'm paying $100 a month for a service that I don't use every month. I would not have thought like this last month. But then I'm seeing the cost of everything is going up, and I'm feeling guilty, and I say, okay, let me save money. So I'm looking for where I can save money. But for those Americans who are in the bottom half of the country, for whom even 5% increase in rent or 5% increase in cost of heat or etc., their whole economy, domestic economy, will be upset. And that is Iran's revenge on America and Americans for this war. By making the affordability crisis even more severe, that is how they can even get back at Trump. So if people who are doing well are also, of course, billionaires like Elon Musk and all, they don't care, right, whether gas becomes $5, $10, $15. But for most of us, I want to travel next month, and air tickets have become double. I wish I had bought my ticket in January. So it's like that, this that is Iran. So for Iran, a long war is its interest, because it could punish America so much because of this global economy that they will not attack it again. But the Iranians feel if the war stops now, then the Americans, once they have more ammunition and Israelis with more, they will keep bombing it again and again and again, like they do to Lebanon. Lebanon can't defend itself. Now they've killed another 700, 800 people in Lebanon. 1 million of the 1/3 of the population has been forced to domestically, they're called internally displaced people. So Iran will become like Lebanon. Israel will bomb and bomb and bomb whenever they want it. Like Netanyahu will say, oh, what are we doing this weekend? Nothing? Okay, let's go kill some Iranians. And they'll do that like they do with Lebanon. I mean, I've answered this question before, why Arab countries are not retaliating Iran's attack. Well, why aren't other countries doing so? A ship owned by an Indian American called Sea Safe Vishnu was attacked, and the chief engineer is an Indian citizen. He's dead. So why is India not retaliating? It's the same kind of question. You don't want to make Iran your enemy, And if these countries right now they are saying that we are defending ourselves, so they're using defensive mechanism. But if they attack Iran, then they are afraid that now that they have realized they can't rely on America for defense, I think Iran will come after them in a big way and keep harassing them in the future, because now they'll become open enemies, right? Right now they are like neutral, like pretending to be neutral, even though they are America's allies and Israel's allies. Jordan, for example, Jordan's king's daughter defended Israel against Iran. Okay, but they are still pretending that they are neutral in this war, which they are not. But if they attack Iran, then that neutrality will be difficult to pretend. And I think that Iran will then unleash itself on its much more, like it'll stop attacking the US. Like in the last 3 days, I think they shot about 1,000 missiles at Iran, at Israel. Well, imagine if they shot 1,000 missiles at Dubai. There's no way Dubai can defend itself. It'll become a rubble like Gaza. That's why they're not. And now they have realized that, oh my God, this country is very dangerous. Hi, Lakshmi. I'm fine. Thank you for asking. Sunnyside, where is UN? Well, Sunny is a member of Conversations. Thank you for your support. I don't know. The UN it's a useless organization. When the US is involved, the UN has never been able to constrain the US. The UN only goes after America's enemies. But it can do, like, for example, what has the UN done about the ICC decision to arrest Netanyahu? Nothing. If the same decision was made against a Bangladeshi prime minister or Pakistani, the UN would have done a lot more to get them. So it's like that. The UN is a tool of American foreign policy, not a constraint on it. Oh, wow. Gas prices here in Vancouver cross 2 Canadian dollars. Oh, he's saying this is per liter, right? So per liter too, so you're talking about $8 per gallon, a little more than $8 per gallon. Wow. Let me just check. Canada gas price. Okay. Yeah, it is per liter. Wow. So I think there are gallon to liters. I think it's 4, right? Gallon to liters. 3.78. So 3.78 into 2 is 7.5. So it's 7.5 Canadian dollars to, so Canadian dollars to US dollars. It's 72 cents, 7 cents. So it's about $5 in Canada right now. $5 per gallon in Canada. So the Canadians are paying $1 more than the US. But Canada itself is a major producer of oil and gas. So I don't know why the price in Canada it's because of taxes. So this is what happens. It doesn't matter whether you're producing a lot of oil or not. So if you are a proper country like Canada or US, so as soon as the oil price goes up, the price of overall price, market price, it'll be the same in India, the same in Canada, the same in the US. The variance that you see, so for example, in Canada, it's now $5 a gallon, $5 a gallon, and in the US, it's still 3.5, in some places 4, in California, I think $5 per gallon. The difference is taxes. So Americans don't tax gas as much as Canadians do and Europeans do and other countries do. So even if you are a gas producing country and oil producing country, the price, like in the US, only 90% of the oil, only 10% of our needs we import from the Middle East. So, but the US is still price going up because of the market price. So we won't sell it cheaper at home. We'll sell it at market price. That's why Canada is. So the variance comes because of taxation. India, I think it is holding stable, but the price of cooking gas has gone up and supply is completely ended. Lots of people have shut down, especially businesses, restaurants, hotels, etc., are unable to operate because there is no cooking gas available. It will also affect Uber, CNG, etc. I don't know. It's not affect, like Muslim Brotherhood is not a major force anymore anywhere in the world. I think it will become stronger because the Saudis are realizing they cannot trust America or any other Western country. And they will only protect Israel and not them. And so I think they will depend more and more on Pakistan, especially for security partnership, training, etc. I don't know. This question is being asked by a lot of people. I do not want to speculate. Most of the people who are making the case are looking at his last speech and saying that, look, at one particular moment, it appears that he has 6 fingers. At another moment, it appears as if he doesn't have teeth, and then he has teeth and he doesn't have teeth. So they are speculating that it is AI generated, and then he's not been seen. And after the rumors started spreading on the social media that he's dead, his brother is dead, and Ben Gvir, the nastiest minister in the cabinet, that he is also dead. None of them has provided proof of life so far. Some Israeli ministry, the prime minister's office, has released a statement saying these are lies. But the easiest way for him to do would be to pick up the current newspaper of the day and just do a video for social media if he is not dead. It's very easy to provide. See, I'm right now providing proof of life, right? I'm doing something live. I just need to make a 30-second video showing you today's date. I could show a newspaper article or something, and that's it. Nadia is also a member of Conversations. You came in the morning too, good. All right, she's praying, Ameen. God's support is the biggest support. Stupid. Some people say very silly things. Well, Israel can't afford it. We pay for it, American taxpayers. Joe Biden on his way out paid some $17.5 billion to Israel, congratulating it, I guess, for the genocide in Gaza, and said, oh, you did so much violence here. Here are the bombs that you may have spent, and here is the money that you have spent. So Israel has a lot of money. Donald Trump gave it $10 billion, I think, since he became president. And I can assure you, as soon as this war is over, the first thing American government is going to do is to refill the bombs and ammunition of Israel and then give it money. And then they won't worry so much about America, because this is not about America. American government is all about Israel first nowadays, because Trump takes billions of dollars from Israeli billionaires. And this is thanks to the US Supreme Court, which passed a law that says corporations, and there's no limit to how much money. It is called Citizens United. You can Google the case, Citizens United. And so rich people just buy the US government. We are not a democracy anymore. Yeah, okay. Second World War and Iran, fighting Germany and Iran are two different things, my friend. Okay. All right. So thank you very much for watching Conversations. I hope you found this useful. Please subscribe to the channel, like this video, press the bell icon, and if possible, become a a member of the channel. I will take this last question from Vishwesh Mahajan. Vishwesh Mahajan 1442. 1442 is a very important date. Google it, you'll find it very interesting. What happened in 1442? Just Google it. You can have a good time. Sir, is there any attack on USA ground or any possibility? No. America is protected by two oceans, the Pacific and the Atlantic Ocean. We are like a fort which has a huge moat. Moat, is the water around a fort that would prevent cavalry from charging. You can't take elephants and charge a fort if there's water around it. You'll just fall. So will the cavalry. So America has two moats. So can you imagine trying to invade America by sea? First of all, we are a country of close to 350 million people, and we probably have as many guns here. Even though Democrats don't have guns, if you see an enemy coming, I go and buy a few shotguns right here from Walmart or other stores, and I'll be ready. Right? We have a lot of ammunition in this country and guns, and I'll fight if anybody attacks America. So attacking America, a country of 350 million people and probably 1 billion guns, you will need an army that is fully armed with heavy ammunition, tanks, drones, military aircraft, choppers of 100 or 200 million. That's big an army you'll have to bring to this country to occupy it or win. How are you going to bring? Imagine how many ships you will need. We'll sink them before they get anywhere near. We have, as you can see, a tremendously big, as Donald Trump says, tremendously big Air Force, missiles, Tomahawks. Yeah, if you attack now, we will be in trouble because we have gave all our weapons to Ukraine and Israel. We don't have much supplies right now. But America will stop making all the other rubbish we make, and we'll go on the war footing. America had a bigger army in World War II than some of the small countries' population, about 20 million people under arms in 1945. And I think if you attack America, we will have an army of 50 million people easily. I mean, I guarantee you, I'm old, but I'll join the battle. Everybody will fight for America. If you attack America, that's not going to happen. Forget about it. Yeah, you can shoot maybe a long-distance missile, but right now, no country. Russians have this capacity. Chinese have it. French have it, but they dare not do that. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye.